Orange Apple, thanks for joining in. Irish Peter as well, how are you? Thoughts on Sesko if news comes out that he will start as a 1 week punt? I think Sesko is worth a punt considering the ownership and the fact that he most probably will start up front for Man United. They have looked better when we consider their attacking assets recently, so he has done well when coming off the bench as well, so for a 1 week punt, definitely. So I'm not sure if I would take Sesko on a wildcard or consider transferring him in if I didn't use my wildcard next game week. But for a 1 week punt, Sesko, I think this is a good 1 week punt. Orange Apple, is Raul Jimenez first for anytime goal scorer this week? Yeah, and I think I discussed this yesterday as well. I think Raul Jimenez is a really interesting option ahead of Blanky gameweek31. He is actually the bookie's favorite, as you can see in the graphics on the right hand side. Raul Jimenez, he is actually the bookie's favorite this game week. So Fulham favorites for keeping a clean sheet. So 45% chance of a Fulham clean sheet against Burnley, and Raul Jimenez, he is actually the favorite for anytime goal scorer. So it's Raul Jimenez, Ekitike, Calvert-Lewin with Jimenez on top. So if you're considering a 1 week punt, I think Raul Jimenez should be considered as well. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining in. So I made my transfer last night, sold Mosquera to bring in the Newcastle defender Tiav. So no more transfers for me this game week. I think I will avoid taking a hit. I have Erling Haaland, Gabriel on the bench, and Van Hecke on the bench as well. So I think this is a solid blank game week for one team, and hopefully I can get another green arrow. If you had to choose one for captain, would you go Harry Wilson or Raul Jimenez? So actually, if I had Raul this game week at home against Burnley, he is on penalties as well. I think that if I had Raul Jimenez in my team, I think I actually would take the punt and go for Jimenez captain this game week, to be honest. Thoughts on Gibbs White as well for a 1 week punt? Great fixture for him. Yes, definitely he's on my watch list as well. Gibbs White, definitely want to consider on most set pieces for Nottingham Forest. Really good fixture playing against a weak Spurs team. So even though it's away, so I think Gibbs White could be a really interesting option. So Gibbs White, Raul Jimenez, really good options this game week. At the moment, my captain is Bruno Fernandes. I'm a bit tempted to go for Harry Wilson, potentially Igor Thiago, but Bruno Fernandes definitely the safest option this game week. Will play close to 90 minutes, can pick up defensive contributions and almost set pieces, including penalties. So Bruno Fernandes definitely a good captain option this game week. He will most probably be the player with the highest effective ownership in blank game week 31. So the thing is that it will be really, really annoying, of course, if we captain Bruno Fernandes and if he blanks tonight. Will be a really long game week, but so Bruno Fernandes, he is the favorite in the captain poll as well. 75%, Harry Wilson 12, and other 12% as well. No votes for Igor Thiago. Let's see how that will develop. So Erling Haaland sold by 500k. FPL managers, I think it will be a bit hard to bring Erling Haaland back in if you decide to spread the funds, of course, but if you can't field 11 this game week, it definitely makes sense to sell Man City and Arsenal players, but I definitely think it's fine to have at least one Man City, one Arsenal player on the bench. I have this myself, Erling Haaland, Gabriel, both on my bench for blank game week 31. We're tempted now to captain Raul. I think if you decide to go for Raul Jimenez, I think you probably should give him the captain's arm, and it will be a big, big differential. I haven't really checked his ownership. Obama, hello, FPL TFS. Hello, thanks for joining in. Are you ready for blank game week 31? So Raul priced at 6.2, only selected by 3.5% of the managers, so he will be a big, big differential this game week. So if you decide to give him the captain's armband, and if he does well, you're most probably looking at a green arrow. So especially if one of the most selected captains this game week, which looks really likely to be Bruno Fernandes, if he blanks and Raul does well, can potentially be a really, really solid game week. I have all my chips, and my league leader still have all of his chips. Can I still catch him? He's leading with 158 points. So if your goal this season is to beat the guy on top of your mini league, if you're trailing by 158 points, you need to differentiate and get other players. So it's like, have a look at his team, especially those players that are highly selected. You need to sell them. Players like Erling Haaland, Gabriel, Bruno Fernandes even. You should go for a differential captain, and you should sell the players that he also owns. Which is better, Sar to Wilson for a free, or Sar, Erling Haaland, Maguire to Bruno Fernandes, Thiago, and Anderson for a -8? I think we should avoid taking a -8, so not taking a hit heading into blank game week 31 will be a really good start to this game week. So my advice would be to just do Sar to Harry Wilson, to be honest. So Sar, Haaland, of course, both of them blanking this game week, but Maguire can potentially do well. So I think at least I would avoid Maguire to Anderson. can potentially do Sar and Haaland to Bruno Fernandes, Igor Thiago for a -4, but I would definitely avoid that first transfer. I'm sorry, that last transfer, the defensive transfer. When did you first play FPL? I think my first season was... So my first FPL season was the 2014-15 season. I think I joined midway this season, so I can see my rank was 1.66 million. But I learned a lot this season, and I thought it was a really cool game. I had actually played other fantasy format games, like I think it was the Euros or World Cup fantasy game, but joined midway in the 2014-15 season, and then I did really well in the 2015-16 season. As you can see, ranked 7,000. Then my best season yet, 157. Then 34k, 21k, 921. So a couple of good ranks. The last couple of seasons have been tough. I have tried to take some big punts that have failed. So the last couple of seasons haven't really been my best. So Yukish Edits, thanks for joining in. Do you fancy selling Richards to Thiav, Haaland to Thiago? Yes, if it's for free. And if this lets you play 11 players for blank game week 31, then Thiav, Igor Thiago, definitely players to bring in. I have Kelleher, Senesi, Cash Konati, Rogers, Django Tara, Wilson, Bruno Fernandes, Soboslai, Krupi, and Joao Pedro. The bench is Raya, Erling Haaland, Gabriel, and Richards. Do you think I should change Richards to Thiav, Haaland to Thiago? Well, to be honest, with this team, saying that you already have a decent team, I think I would just do... I think I would just keep Erling Haaland because of the double game week 33. So I think with this team, I would just do Richards to Thiav, to be honest. I did something similar. I had Mosquera in my team, brought him in for double game week 26 as a punt. I sold him this game week to bring in Thiav. How many teams will double in double game week 33? So it looks really likely that 6 teams will play twice in double game week 33. Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Burnley, and Brighton. But of course there will be FA Cup games played before game week 34. So the reason why there will be doubles in game week 33 is actually the fact that the teams will blank in game week 34. So the FA Cup semi-final will be played in game week 34. So the fixtures in game week 34 will have to be moved, and game week 33 looks likely to be the game week to put those fixtures. So the favorites to win and advance to the FA Cup semi-final: Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Burnley, Brighton. So I think the biggest 50-50 is the fact that Man City will play against Liverpool. They are favorites, but it could actually be Liverpool who has a double game week 33. So the fact that if Liverpool actually beat Man City in the FA Cup, Man City, they might actually still double because they have a fixture against Crystal Palace, the blank this game week because of the EFL Cup final. It might be moved and played in double game week 33. So if Liverpool beat Man City in the FA Cup final, if Liverpool beat Man City in the FA Cup, they might still double in game week 33. So if you're interested in having your team reviewed, head over to X, post a picture of your team selection under my latest post. It's the same handle as on YouTube. It's at FPLTFS. Not sure why this is taking so long. Something went wrong. Try reloading. But let's see what happens. So find this post, the game week 31 deadline stream. Post a picture in the comments. And we'll get your team up on the screen. Do you fancy Wilson captaincy? I think Wilson is a really good option this game week. For me, it's actually, I'm leaning towards Bruno Fernandes this game week. He has so many routes to points. I think if Harry Wilson was the first choice penalty taker for Fulham, I would definitely go for him. So discussed like 10 minutes ago with Orange Apple. I think if I had Raul Jimenez, I would actually go for him. The fixture can't be much better playing at home against Burnley. So, but Harry Wilson, if you want to take a punt, definitely one to consider. So I was thinking about selling Holland as well. If I only buy Tiav, then I can't afford selling Richards to Tiav. I think I would just save the transfer and do something like Richards to Anderson, the Fulham centre back, to be honest. If you already have Wilson, would you choose Raul or Tiav? It's my final free transfer this week. I think I will go for Raul Jimenez, to be honest. He has the highest upside. Of course, Tiav, he can get a clean sheet at home against Sunderland. But Raul Jimenez on penalties at home against Burnley, I think this is a really good game week to take a punt on Raul Jimenez. This is my team from Obama. Lamens in goal, Maguire, so a double up on the United defense. Tiav is in, Hamburg, Dewsbury Hall, Schade, Mbumo, Florian Wirtz, Sarah, Sar, Raul, Strand Larsen, and on the bench Dubravka, Haaland, Guehi, and Gabriel. One free transfer, 2.5. I still have all my chips. Any tips? My rank is 3.5 million. So with this team, I definitely think that you can survive in blank game week 31. One free transfer. So with this team, probably something like Sar to Harry Wilson. And wildcard next game week, probably. Virat Kohli, thanks for joining in. How are you? Captain Who? I'm leaning towards Bruno Fernandes. Definitely the safest option. Probably a bit boring. I have talked about this. It will be a bit frustrating, of course, if we decide to captain Bruno Fernandes if he blanks tonight. It will be a really long weekend with FPL. But I think that he is a really strong option. Has a lot of rooster points. Will play close to 90 minutes. So Bruno Fernandes is the favorite in the poll as well. 65% for Bruno Fernandes, 25% for Harry Wilson, Igor Thiago 5%, and other 5% as well. Ekitike, Thiago, Rogers. So Igor Thiago would be my preferred option out of those. Ekitike can potentially see limited minutes. Has played a lot recently. Started in the Champions League as well. Rogers, not the best form, but really good fixture for Rogers playing at home against West Ham, of course. So he can potentially do well, but he hasn't really delivered FPL points recently. While Igor Thiago, he scored in game week 30. Should have had more points last game week. He was a bit unlucky, so unlucky for Thiago and his owners last game week. So Igor Thiago, definitely someone to consider as well. He's one of the options in the poll, but at the moment only 5% votes for Igor Thiago. His team is Raya, Van Dijk, Gabriel, Dennis, Dewsbury Hall, Django Rice, Bruno Fernandes, Garner, Dubravka, Ekitike, Michele, Thiago, and Esteve. I just checked his team. So I think I would just go Sar to Wilson. I just sent the league leader team that I'm chasing. I did notice that he does not have Harry Wilson in his team, so I'm sorry to say, but it's a joke. You look like Epstein. It's obviously actually it's the first time anyone has actually compared me to Jeffrey Epstein, but yeah. Blake Williams, what should I do? Let's have a look. Blake Williamson, goalkeeper for Bruggen, defenders Van Dijk, Esteve, Anderson. In midfield, Florian Wirtz, Bruno Fernandes, Rice, Rogers, and Harry Wilson. Up front, Igor Thiago, Mark Guiu. On the bench, O'Reilly, Gabriel, Haaland for free transfers. So with this team, I would definitely just keep Gabriel, Erling Haaland. I think I would use a couple of transfers with this team. Can't really see Esteve doing wonders this game week. I think that Fulham will win this one. So I think Rice easily can be sold this game week. So something like Rice out potentially O'Reilly as well. Let's see. With this team, I would sell Rice to bring in Gibbs White, and I think I would sell O'Reilly and bring in a Newcastle defender and bench Esteve. Thanks for not getting mad at the joke. No worries. Okay, thank you. I will definitely captain Harry Wilson. I think if you bring in a player that your rival does not own, I think it makes sense to captain him as well. So best of luck. I will have Harry Wilson for blank game week 31 as well. I will hope that he scores a lot of points. Hello, just posted on X. Love to see what you think from Adam. I will have a look. So if you're interested in having your team reviewed, of course you can just post in the chat, as a couple of you already have done. But if you want your team up on the screen, head over to X and post a picture. I'm not really sure why this is taking so long, but it looks like my connection is all right, but maybe something going on with X. So Wilson and captain, then Bruno might get 2 assists today again. I'm a United fan. Hopefully Mbeumo returns and Lammens keeps a clean sheet. Maybe Maguire scores. It's definitely not impossible for those things to happen. So not really sure what's going on with X at the moment, but if you're interested in having your team reviewed, post a picture and we'll get it up on the screen. Would love your opinions as always, mate. Love your content. Thanks a lot. I now got 3 free transfers, 0.1 in the bank. So let's have a look at this team. What do you think is the best chip strategy for my team? Because I feel like a lot will wildcard in game week 32, and I think a lot will wildcard in game week 32. I think there's a reason for this. I think I will go for the game week 32 bench boost 33 with the free hit in blank game week 34 strategy myself. So this will let you have a really strong double game week 33 team with a lot of double game week players, and you can just take them out, because the same players that will blank in game week 34 are the same players that will double in double game week 33. So with this team, 3 free transfers, I think that Mo Salah should be sold. So Erling Haaland and Semenyo can just be benched. With this team, I would do something like Mo Salah to Harry Wilson, Krupi Jr. to Raul Jimenez, O'Reilly to Hall or Tiav. So on the bench, you will have Erling Haaland, Semenyo. You can potentially bench Hill if you don't want to play him against Bruno Fernandes, but Alderete as well can easily be benched this game week. So I would start Kelleher, play Van Dijk, Konate, double up on the Liverpool defense. So it's between Hill, Alderete, one of them can be played. Sell Enzo Lefebvre to Stock or hope that he plays. I think he is a sell. Definitely sounded in the press conference that he is a big doubt ahead of blank game week 31, and most probably you don't have that strong bench cover this game week. So I think that if you have Enzo Lefebvre, I think that he should be sold this game week. So are you saying wildcard 32, free hit 34, maybe triple captain in 36? Yes. Wildcard 32, bench boost, free hit 34. Triple captain in the potential double game week 36. So I think double game week 36 will be a reality, especially if Man City beat Liverpool in the FA Cup. Awesome, cheers for your input as always. Roll on this week, looking forward to it. Definitely, I agree at looking forward to FPL this week, and we will have a couple of weeks without FPL action, so I'll definitely enjoy this weekend of FPL action. So blank game week. I think that if you have planned, if you can field 11 players without taking a hit, this is a really good start to blank game week 31. So if you can nail down the captaincy as well, I think blank game week 31 will be a good one. So at the moment, I'm leaning towards captaining Bruno Fernandes. So in the captain poll, Bruno Fernandes, he is the favorite, 63%, 23% for Harry Wilson, 3% for Igor Thiago, 10% for others. So if you're not going to captain Bruno Fernandes, Wilson, or Igor Thiago, please let me know in the chat who will be your captain for blank game week 31. Yeah, same strategy with what I said. Thank you. No worries. So we'll be back in 30 seconds. hopefully FPL Olympian jinx doesn't work because he's going to cap Wilson too. Yeah, I actually saw the tweet from FPL Olympian saying that he will captain Harry Wilson. So this is one of the reasons why I'm leaning towards Bruno Fernandes. So Friday deadline for blank game week 31. 2 hours and 55 minutes left until the deadline. So I will be live for like 30 minutes. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any 50-50 decisions, benching dilemmas, I'm not sure if there are that many benching dilemmas this game week. I think this game week is more about trying to field 11 players. So I will have both Gabriel, Erling Haaland on my bench. I will most probably use my wildcard next game week and then use my bench boost in double game week 33. Use my free hits in blank game week 34. I think this is, at the moment with the information we have right now, I think this is the best chip strategy. I have actually made a video about chip strategy as well a couple of weeks ago. It hasn't really changed that much, so if you're interested in more reasoning for why this is the best strategy, I think this video is linked in the description down below. It's definitely on my channel. So my team for the blank, I will have Kelleher playing against Leeds. A decent fixture. I'm not really expecting a clean sheet from Brentford. It will be a bonus. I have Tiav, transferred him in this game week. Last night I did Mosquera to Tiav. I actually had 11 players for this game week. I had Van Hecke in the starting 11, but didn't really want to play Van Hecke against Ekitike, so that's the reason why I used my transfer to sell Mosquera and bring in Tiav. I have 2 Bournemouth defenders, so thinking about going for Ekitike, captain punt, instead of Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, if you have a double up on the Bournemouth defense, definitely makes sense to not captain Bruno Fernandes, to be honest. It will kind of cancel each other out, so it's like you will be disappointed either way, because if Bournemouth keep a clean sheet, you will of course get clean sheet points and probably 12 points from your Bournemouth defenders, but you will have a captain blank. So if Bruno Fernandes does really well, you will not get points from your Bournemouth defenders. So I think Ekitike is a solid option as well. Let's see how many votes. He has others 12%. I think Ekitike is solid. My only worry when it comes to Ekitike is the fact that he has played a lot of minutes recently. He was rested, of course, in game week 30, but played, was it like 85 minutes midweek? I think Ekitike will start this game week, but he can potentially play like 60, 70 minutes. But this, of course, could be enough. Liverpool against Brighton. I think this is a solid fixture. So with a double up on the Bournemouth defense, I think Ekitike is a solid option. Go to X and check. So Hopefully this will refresh a bit quicker. Many thanks, Bruno, captain, do you think? Or Wilson or Thiago? Team looking good now. Let's have a look at this team. So this is Adam's team. Harry Wilson. Do you have double up on? It looks really, really good on paper, to be honest. Oops. Let's see, like this. Ooh, this team looks really, really good on paper. Van Dijk, Hill, Konate, Thiav in defense. Harry Wilson, Bruno Fernandes, Chango, Tara, Scott, Raul, and Igor Thiago. So I kind of agree with. So I think I actually would go against Bruno Fernandes' captaincy if I owned the Bournemouth defender, same as Kjetil said a couple of minutes ago. So with this team, I talked about this, discussing this with Orange Apple at the start of the stream as well. I think if I had Raul Jimenez this game week, we checked his ownership. It was like 4.5% ownership. I think if I had Raul Jimenez this game week, I think I actually would give him the captain's armband. Thinking that Hill will get defensive contributions. Yeah, he has been really, really solid recently, so I'm not really thinking about a Bournemouth clean sheet, but definitely Hill. He has the potential to get defensive contribution points, so with this team, I think it looks good. I think I would go for Raul Jimenez as my captain this game week. Of course, it's not guaranteed that it will work out, but the fixture can't be much better. We know Raul Jimenez will start. We know that he is on penalties. He has actually looked really good recently. He has good expected goal numbers from the last 4 game weeks as well. So Raul Jimenez punt against Burnley at home. I think this is at least a really good punt ahead of blank game week 31. We're at Kohli reviews. So if you're interested, head over to X, post a picture as Adam has done. Probably something from Virat in the comments on this one as well. But let me just refresh. There we go. With the 6.5 million in the bank, I'll invest in a new stadium for the next season. Nice. What must do with Mo Salah? No free transfers. So if you have Mo Salah, if you only have 10 players available, if you have 11 players available, you can of course just bench Mo Salah this game week, but I think Mo Salah is worth a -4 to transfer him out to bring in potentially someone like Harry Wilson if you don't own him, Morgan Gibbs White. If you don't want that much in the bank, you can of course go for Cole Palmer as well. So this is Virat Kohli's team. Let's have a look. Sanchez in goal, Thiaw, Van Dijk, Anderson. Really good defense. So both Thiaw, Anderson, they are two of the players with the highest predicted FPL points, and they are the favorites for keeping a clean sheet according to the bookies as well. So I think this defense looks, at least on paper, looks really good. Bruno Fernandes, Rogers, Mbumo, Florian Wirtz, and up front, Krupi Jr., Igor Thiago, and captain Ekitike. I think this team looks really strong, to be honest. And you have cover on the bench as well with Hill. So I think this team definitely is good to go. Good luck, everyone, for this game week. See you next deadline. Many thanks. Thanks for joining in, Adam, and best of luck for blank game week 31, and have a lovely weekend. Roman, 3 blank players and 2 transfers. Should I get Cole Palmer and Dewsbury Hall, or a good defender, or Gordon and Dewsbury Hall? I'm not really sure why. I think there are better options than Dewsbury Hall this game week, to be honest, but playing against Chelsea. Roman, did you post your team or what? Can't really see anything in the chat, but I'm not really sure if bringing in Dewsbury Hall for blank game with the one is the best option, to be honest. So if you have 3 blank players, you can just keep them on the bench. If it's like if you have like Erling Haaland, Gabriel, Semenyo. So Virat Kohli, this is his team on the screen. Considering to captain Igor Thiago, I think, to be honest, Igor Thiago would be my captain with this team if you're not going for Bruno Fernandes. So Igor Thiago, a bit unlucky not to get more points last game week. Ekitike is kind of a minute's risk. We know Slot said ahead of game week 3 that he has played a lot of minutes because of the Alexander Isak injury, so we might see limited minutes from Ekitike in blank game week 31 as well. He played like 85 minutes midweek, so Ekitike, I think, as mentioned, I think that he will start. He's in most of the predicted starting 11s for Liverpool, but he can see limited minutes and play like 60, 70 minutes. Okay, so 2 blanks in 3 blank players in the starting 11, 4 blanks on the bench. 3 blanks in the team, 4 blanks on the bench. I need to take out with 2 transfers. I plan on playing 10 and not taking a hit. Nice, so you definitely should use your 2 free transfers. So please let me know which 2 players are you considering to transfer out, Romain, and I will give a couple of suggestions on who to bring in. So you talked about bringing in Cole Palmer, Dewsbury Hall. Talked about Gordon as well. I think Gordon is a really solid option. So on my watch list, it's in the right-hand corner. On my watch lists this game week, I have players like Anthony Gordon, Morgan Gibbs-White. I think Harry Wilson is a solid option. A bit more templates, but Morgan Gibbs-White definitely a differential. Up front, we have Raul Jimenez. I really like Raul Jimenez for this game week, to be honest. And in defense, I think Lewis Hall is a good punt. Can bring in Thiaw, Anderson. Potentially, if you want to bring in differentials, Robinson from the Fulham defense is another option as well. taking out Semenyo and Rice. Now, so you can, of course, if you think that Cole Palmer will do well, you can, of course, do something like Cole Palmer and Dewsbury Hall. But I think I would actually go for Semenyo, Rice to Gordon and Wilson instead. Potentially Anthony Gordon and Gibbs White. Already have Wilson. Sorry, so potentially Gordon and Gibbs White then. I think Semenyo, Rice to Gordon, Gibbs White. Really good transfers this game week. So it's 2 hours, 40 minutes until the deadline. This evening we will have Man United playing away against Bournemouth as the first fixture. So at the moment I'm actually leading towards captaining a player in the early kickoff. So Bruno Fernandes, currently my captain. I think Igor Thiago is a solid option. Harry Wilson as well. JP probably stands for Joe Pedro, right? Captain Thiago captaining Joe Pedro this game week. Joe Pedro for the upcoming weeks for Ekitike. So something like Ekitike to Joe Pedro. Ekitike to Joe Pedro. I think at some point when the fixtures in double game week 33, when the fixtures gets confirmed, I think Joe Pedro will be a really, really popular asset. So the things that I'm not sure if I would do this transfer this game week because Chelsea playing against Man City next game week. So I think that you can potentially keep Ekitike for blank game week 31 and then for game week 32 as well, and then do Ekitike to Joe Pedro in game week 33. I have Van Dijk and Anderson in defense, Bruno, Wilson, Szoboszlai in midfield, and Thiago and Ekitike up front playing 3-5-2. Getting Gordon and another midfielder, maybe Gibbs White to completely. I think Gibbs White is a really good alternative at the moment. Good expected goal involvement numbers as well on most set pieces for Nottingham Forest. And on paper, the fixture against Spurs is actually a grey fixture in the fixture difficulty rating, but I definitely think that this is a good fixture for Nottingham Forest at the moment. So Gibbs White, solid option at the moment. So Chelsea, they will most probably be the team that most FPL managers will target ahead of game week 33. The reason for this is the fact that Chelsea looks likely to have a double game week and play against Man United at home and Brighton away. So Chelsea, Man United, and Brighton. So the fixtures in game week 34 for Chelsea will probably be Man United at the Stamford Bridge and then play away against Brighton. So solid fixtures for Chelsea, and I think at least the players that will use their wildcard in game week 32 will probably have at least 2 Chelsea players in their team. So I have actually made a wildcard draft for game week 32 and discussing some transfer targets ahead of game week 32 as well. I will post this probably tonight or tomorrow. So if you're interested in watching that video, that would be really, really appreciated. And of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out. So I have weekly Q&As. Always the night before the deadline, I have a Q&A. And when I find the time, I do deadline streams like this as well. So if you're interested, please subscribe to the channel. It's actually possible to become a channel member as well. I reached 4,000 watch time hours, so channel membership is unlocked. So if you're interested in becoming the first member, I haven't really talked about the membership that much, but if you're interested in supporting the channel, that's an opportunity at the moment. 2 hours 33 minutes until the deadline. I will be live for like 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, 50-50 decisions, please let me know in the chat. So the favorite in the captain poll, Bruno Fernandes, 63%, 24% for Harry Wilson, 2% for Igor Thiago. So not that many votes for Igor Thiago, while the other category has 10% of the votes. My captain at the moment is Bruno Fernandes, leaning towards the safety of Bruno Fernandes. I'm not really trusting Ekitike this game week, but I'm not saying he is a terrible captain pick this game week, but I can potentially see limited minutes for Ekitike. I think he will start, but he can potentially see limited minutes, as mentioned, with like 60, 70 minutes substitution. What's your current rank? My current rank is 320k. Thoughts on Tarkovsky starting? It didn't really sound that promising in the press conference, but I think it will take a lot for Tarkovsky not to play, to be honest. So if it's a small injury, I think that he will potentially take some painkillers and try to be available for game week 31, to be honest. So we know at this point that there will be a gap between game week 31 and game week 32. So I actually think that this is good for Tarkovsky's chances of actually being available for blank game week 31. So I have a feeling that Tarkovsky will play, but as mentioned, it didn't really sound that promising in the press conference, but I haven't really seen any updated news on his availability, but my feeling is that Tarkovsky will be available. Is it risky to play Mukiele as the 11 player without bench cover and rolling one transfer? I think if it kind of depends on your chip strategy. So if you're not going to wildcard, or if you already have used your wildcard, I think I would just save the transfer. But if you're going to wildcard in game week 32, I would just use the transfer on upgrading one of my defenders. Two hours, 30 minutes left until the deadline. Bruno Fernandes, he is the favorite in the captain poll. He will most probably be my captain. I started the stream with Bruno Fernandes. Haven't really changed my mind. I had a Q&A last night as well, and Bruno Fernandes won that one. He's the clear leader in this one. 65%, 23% for Harry Wilson, only 2% for Igor Thiago. So ahead of blank game week 31, I have actually used my transfer already. I had Mosquera, the Wolves center back, brought him in ahead of double game week 26. I had Van Hecke in the starting 11, Mosquera on the bench, but decided to sell Mosquera to bring in Tiav. I didn't really want to play Van Hecke against Ekitike, so this will most probably be my team. Ekitike versus Raul Jimenez. If it's for captaincy, I actually think I would go for Raul Jimenez. Lovely fixture playing at home on penalties for Fulham. Thing is that we know at this point that Mo Salah will miss out, so this kind of makes Ekitike a bit more tempting, of course, but my only worry with Ekitike is the fact that he can't see limited minutes, as mentioned a couple of times. So I can't see Ekitike play like 60, 70 minutes while Raul Jimenez at home against Burnley on penalties. I think I would go for Raul. Only selected by 4.5% of the managers as well, so a really, really big punt. Best players to bring in for a game week 32 wildcard. I will actually make a video on this. Can show you real quick. Give me a minute. It will be something like this. Oops. game week 32 wildcard team will be something like this. Of course, it depends on how blank game week 31 turns out, but I think we should at least have a couple of Arsenal assets, and my advice would be to at least triple up on their defense. In this team, I have a triple up on Arsenal, considering that they will have a double game week in game week 33. So Raya, Gabriel, Rice. I have actually a double up on Newcastle as well. Hall with Thiav on the bench. Van Hecke, really good fixture in game week 32, and Brighton, they will double in double game week 33. So Pascal Gross, Gordon, Bruno Fernandes, Joe Pedro, Erling Haaland, and a punt on Danny Welbeck up front. So this is a game week 32 wildcard team with a bench boost in double game week 33 in mind. So let me just real quick put up how this team will look in double game week 33. So the same players with two fixtures, double fixtures for Arsenal playing against Man City and Newcastle. So not the best fixtures for Arsenal, away against Man City, home against Newcastle, but I think we should have Arsenal players ready. So as mentioned, I will make a video, use some of those graphics, and record with a bit more information and details. So if you're interested, this will be posted later tonight or potentially tomorrow. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. David, best players, yeah, that was the game week 32 wildcard. Jared Bowen or Pedro? Next game week, I think Jared Bowen is a really good option, but I like them both. But considering the fact that Chelsea will have a double in game week 32, I like Jared Bowen this game week and the next game week, but from game week 33, I would definitely go for João Pedro. The Chelsea, they will be the team with the best set of fixtures in double game week 33. So I think even though the ownership, João Pedro's ownership is like 50%, right? So I think your rank will potentially take a big hit if you don't own João Pedro in game week 33. He will potentially be heavily captain as well in the double in game week 33. So Peter, it kind of depends on your chip strategy. If you're going to use your wildcard next game week, you could take a punt on Jared Bowen this game week and then bring João Pedro in later. But if you're going to, if you already have used your wildcard, transfers are precious. So I would just go for João Pedro this game week. Thank you, subbed. Thanks a lot for subscribing. Really, really appreciate it. So if you're interested in subscribing to the channel, I have weekly Q&As always the night before the deadline. So I actually had this yesterday as well. I have deadline streams like this when I find the time, and I post weekly videos ahead of every game week. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. It's actually possible to become a channel member as well. I reached 4,000 watch time hours. Really, really big achievements. So if you want to support the channel, please consider becoming the first channel member as well. In the captain poll, Bruno Fernandes 65%, Harry Wilson 24%, only 2% votes still for Igor Thiago, while the other category has 10%. this will most probably be my team. I have no free transfers. Already used my transfer head of blank game week 31. So sold Van Hecke to bring in Tiav. I'm sorry, sold Mosquera to bench Van Hecke. So Mosquera to Tiav is my transfer this game week. Do you think Hall will start or just go for Livramento? I think from blank game week 31 until the end of the season, Lewis Hall will start most games. We can, of course, see rotation because they played midweek. So the safest option from the Newcastle defense is probably Tiab at the moment. But to answer the question, I actually think that Hall will start, and I think that he is a solid option for blank game week 31 as well. He has looked really good recently, picked up 2 assists midweek against Barcelona. So definitely one to consider. So Newcastle, they are one of the teams with the best clean sheet odds ahead of game week 31 as well, playing at home against Sunderland. Sorry, with 42% chance of keeping a clean sheet. So Jimenez, Ekitike, Calvert-Lewin, the favorites for anytime goal scorer. Fulham, Newcastle, and Chelsea, the favorites to keep a clean sheet. The most sold players makes sense this game week. Erling Haaland, Semenyo, and Rice, highly owned players that don't have a fixture. The most transferred in players, Anthony Gordon, Thiav. We have Bruno Fernandes as well. So 2 players from Newcastle in the top 3 for most transferred in. And both Erling Haaland and Semenyo, the most transferred out players. Van Hecke, Ekitike, Lewis Hall, all of them will most probably rise in price this evening. So Hall, definitely one to consider transferring in. But as mentioned, I still think that Tiav is the safest option if you want to bring in a Newcastle defender. I actually did Mosquera to Lewis Hall for my own team yesterday, so I think that he is a solid option. We know that he has attacking threats. He can pick up defensive contribution points. And of course, they are one of the favorites to keep a clean sheet as well. So at home against Sunderland, Newcastle defenders are solid options this game week. So this will be my team. I will most probably just keep the captain's armband on Bruno Fernandes. He is the favorite in the poll as well. 63%, 26% for Harry Wilson, 2% for Igor Thiago, and 8% for the other category. So at the moment, the team on the screen will most probably be my game week 31 team. I'm close to locked in. It's 2 hours and 17 minutes until the deadline. Let me know if you have any questions. 50-50 decisions. We'll be live for like 2-3 minutes. And then I will have to go. I have deadline streams like this, and I always have a Q&A the night before every deadline. So if you're interested in this, please subscribe to the channel. I will make a game week 32 wildcard video and chip strategy video while discussing double game week 33 as well. So if you're interested in watching this, it will be posted later tonight or potentially early tomorrow. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one. 2 hours and 16 minutes. I'm actually really looking forward to the game this evening. Bournemouth playing against Man United. The Bruno Fernandes captaincy will make this game a bit more exciting, of course. I will be even happier for Bruno Fernandes attacking returns, potential defensive contributions. But the thing is with captaining a player in the early kickoff on Friday night is the fact that if your captain blanks on Friday, it will be a really long weekend. So, however, I think Bruno Fernandes will be my captain. He had a rest, will play 90 minutes, will potentially, of course, get more assists. So I saw a stat with chances created, and Bruno Fernandes is in a league for himself. So really, really good season for Bruno Fernandes, and I think the captaincy is close to locked in. 64%, 25 for Harry Wilson, 2 for Igor Thiago, and 8 for the other category. Ayub 1 to bench Senesi, Dalot, Vandenberg, or Van Dijk. I think if you have Bruno Fernandes, definitely if you have Bruno Fernandes captain, if you have Mbumo as well, so it kind of depends on your cover from Man United, but I would try to avoid playing my Man United attackers against my defenders, so I would be tempted to actually bench Senesi this game week, to be honest. I highly doubt Spurs, if you have Van de Ven, will keep a clean sheet. Yes, I definitely doubt Van de Ven will keep a clean sheet. I totally agree, but the thing is that I can potentially play Van Hecke, but Van Hecke against Liverpool, can't really see Brighton keeping a clean sheet, so taking a punt on Van de Ven. Hopefully he can deliver attacking returns. So at the moment, I'm actually hoping that Spurs against Nottingham Forest will be a low-scoring game. The best would potentially be 0-0 in that fixture, and Elliot Anderson picking up defensive contributions. David, appreciate work. Have a great day. Thanks a lot, David. Thanks for joining in. Have a lovely weekend and best of luck for blank game week 31. Do you know what ICAB means? Is this like an abbreviation for something I could... Not sure. Black Shadow. Yo, bro. Thanks for joining in. New subscriber here. Thanks a lot. Can you rate my free team? Ingol, Leno, Van Dijk, Collins, Hall, Bruno Fernandes, Captain, Wilson, Rogers, Gibbs White, Gordon, Ekitiki, and Igor Thiago. Really strong team. I like this a lot. So one thing, if I were to use my free hit this game week, I think I actually would include Raul Jimenez, to be honest. So something like playing 3 up front with Raul Jimenez instead of Rogers, potentially. This team is really, really strong. You can potentially pick another goalkeeper and bring in Raul Jimenez up front. Pope in goal instead of Leno. Rodgers on the bench and play 3-4-3 with Raul Jimenez up front. Only suggestion, of course. I think this team looks really good, but I actually fancy Raul Jimenez ahead of blank game week 31. Hi mate, are you keeping Rodgers? Or what transfers have you made? I'm keeping Rodgers this game week at home against West Ham. Decent fixture, but I don't really have that high expectations for Rodgers, but can't really sell him ahead of West Ham at home. I don't have any more transfers available, so I'm not willing to take a hit to get rid of Rodgers when they play against West Ham. So I already made a transfer this game week. I had Mosquera. I sold Mosquera to bring in the Newcastle defender Thiav, and I put Van Hecke on the bench. But in game week 32, then I will play my wildcard next game week. So I will, after the deadline this evening, I will activate my wildcard, and I will make a wildcard and transfer tips video for game week 32 as well. So this video will have double game week 33 in mind. I have shown some graphics earlier on this stream as well, and what my wildcard team would look like. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one. Black Shadow, that's a damn good team, especially for a free hit. I do agree with Yukesh edits. I like the free team from Black Shadow posted in the chat a couple of minutes ago. Is it a problem to free hit this game week from Alex? It's not a problem to free hit this game week, especially if you have to take a couple of hits to field 11 players this game week. It's perfectly fine to play the free hit, but I really, really like the free hit for blank game week 34. It might be even more powerful to save the free hit and play the chip in blank game week 34. The reason why is the fact that, give me a minute. The reason why the free hit might be really, really powerful in blank game week 34 is the fact that in double game week 33, we know there will be double fixtures for teams like Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Burnley, and Brighton, and the same teams will have blank the next game week. So what we want, of course, is to have as many double game week players as possible in our teams, and you can just free hit the next game week when they blank. But if your team really needs it this game week, I think playing the free hit in blank game week 31 is good use as well. Alderete to Rodon. I did rise to Harry Wilson. I have one free transfer left. Thinking to either rolling upgrade my defense for 1 week, wildcard next week, or sell Gudmundsson for Rodon for bench backup. If you already have 11 players, if it's just small upgrades, I think I would potentially just save the transfer, to be honest, because if you have one free transfer while using a wildcard, so earlier it was like if you have the week where you use your wildcard, you will always have one free transfers available next game week. But if you have one free transfer while using your wildcard, you will have 2 free transfers the next game week. So at the moment, I have no transfers at the moment. I used my one free transfer, and this means that after using my wildcard, I will only have one free transfer available. But if you have one free transfer available while pushing the wildcard button, you will have two free transfers the next game week. So this was a new rule added like last season or the season before, 23-24 season. The beauty forwards: Joe Pedro, Thiago, Ekitike. Midfield: Bruno Fernandes, Harry Wilson, Rogers, Florian Wirtz. In defense: Van Dijk, Alderete, and Guehi. One free transfer, 3.8. I think I actually would sell Guehi, to be honest, to play. Use the transfer to at least have 11 starters. So something like Guehi to Tiav or potentially Anderson. As an FPL veteran, what would you suggest to do here, mate? Desperately seeking for help. I think I would sell Guehi, to be honest, and bring in defender from Newcastle or potentially Fulham. So Tiav is probably the safest option. Hall is a really good option as well. Anderson is safe, and Fulham, they are actually the favorites to keep a clean sheet this game week. But if you want to take a punt and invest in the Fulham defense, you can potentially go for Anthony Robinson as well. Pablo Jara, 90. Alderete for Rodon. I think I actually answered this. I think I would just save. So to answer your question, Pablo, I think I would just save the transfer instead of doing small upgrades like Gudmundsson to Rodon if that player is going to be on your bench either way. That's it, mates. Shouldn't I be aggressive and do more transfers? I have all my chips left. I think you should try to avoid taking too many hits, to be honest. With all chips available, I would do something like the transfer I talked about with Guehi out. I would play my wild card in game week 32, bench boost in game week 33, and then use my free hits in game week 34. So I wouldn't use any chips this game week if you have all your chips intact. If you still have your triple captain, I would use this in double game week 36. Should I sell Semenyo to Gordon with no wild card? So the thing that if you don't have your wild card, I think that makes it a bit more difficult, but definitely it's something to consider. So it kind of depends on your rank and your position in your mini leagues. If you want to be a bit aggressive, if you want to stand out, you definitely should sell Semenyo to bring in Anthony Gordon. So Anthony Gordon, he is actually a big differential selected by below 10%, while Semenyo above 50% ownership. Of course, a risk involved selling Semenyo, not for this game week, but we know that Man City will have a double in double game week 33 as well. So I think at this point, Semenyo to Anthony Gordon kind of depends on your rank. If you're satisfied with your rank, keep Semenyo. If you're satisfied with your position in your mini leagues, just keep Semenyo for now. But if you want to be a bit aggressive, Semenyo to Anthony Gordon makes sense. Do I start Rogers, Ekitike, or Joe Pedro? Ooh, really? I haven't really seen that many benching dilemmas this game week, so it's probably on a wildcard. Ekitike should definitely start. So So it's between Rodgers and Pedro. So at home against West Ham, I would be really, really tempted to just start Rodgers, but benching Joao Pedro in this form. So the answer to this question is kind of similar to the answer to sample. If you want to be a bit aggressive, start Rodgers. If you want to play safe, start Joao Pedro. So it kind of depends on your rank and the position you have in your mini leagues at the moment. Appreciate it. I actually have enough to do Alderete to Tiav. Nice. But I think rolling the transfer and wildcard next week will work better. Yeah, the thing is that if you save your transfer this game week, the transfer will not go to waste. So the new rule implemented in the 23-24 season that we can't actually stack up transfers while using our wildcard as well. So if you save your transfer this game week, you will have 2 available transfers after wildcarding. Mukiele out, Anderson, Tete, or Tiav. Probably Tiav. Will most probably have a double game week in in game week 33. So I was in kind of a similar position. I had to sell Mosquera, and I sold Mosquera to bring in Tiav. So thanks all for joining in. Lovely deadline stream. There's still 1 hour and 58 minutes left, but hopefully you will have a good game week. Remember, it's a Friday deadline, so it's 2 hours until the deadline. So make sure to lock in your team. Thanks all for joining on this deadline stream. I always have Q&As the night before the deadline, so I actually had this yesterday as well. So if you're interested in joining the next one, please subscribe to the channel. I will post a game week 32 video later this evening or possibly tomorrow morning. So if you're interested in watching that one, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. So thanks once again for joining in. Have a lovely weekend and best of luck for blank game week 31.